And we're recording, everyone, so please know that. Each year, the NFB president takes time out of his very, very busy schedule to talk directly to our children. Each year, we call the children to the front of the room, and the NFB president, in his suit and tie, sits on the floor and talks with, listens to, and answers questions from our children. This year is no different. Kids, this is your time. Please gather at your Zoom locations. Gather, and welcome Mark Riccobono, the president of the National Federation of the Blind, for Kid Talk.
All right, can you hear me, Carlton?
Yes, sir.
And I'm starting my video. Good morning. It is afternoon, isn't it? I'm used to this being in the morning. Man, it's different. So good afternoon, everybody. Now, Carlton, are we going to let people unmute themselves? Is that the plan?
Yes, sir. Okay,
so if we have kids out there, it'd be great to have them unmuted so we could start the chaos, you know? So we'll give everybody a chance to do that.
Yeah, I did.
All right. So good afternoon, everybody.
Okay, Grant's here.
I'm gonna want to go around and have everybody take just a quick moment to introduce yourselves. So does anybody want to jump in and introduce yourself?
Sarah. Hi, my name's Braden. Hi, my name's Braden.
Braden, welcome. What state are you in, Braden?
I'm good.
He said, what state are you in?
Louisiana.
Louisiana, okay.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Hello, what's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Who else do we have?
Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Oriana.
Hi, Oriana.
Clara.
No.
Who was that?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, who is this?
This is Rashida from Brooklyn, New York.
Rashida. You're not a
Hi,
kid.
how you doing?
You're not a kid.
I'm in the wrong meeting. Is this the membership chair meeting?
No, this is the parents meeting.
The blind parents meeting?
No, the parents of blind children. So there you go. Yeah. So
okay.
There you go. Any other kids? Any other kids out there that we want to have introduced?
Kaylee Horse.
Say it again.
This is good, and I'm calling in from Utah. Hey,
Man.
President.
Okay.
This is Hank.
Hank,
Virginia.
welcome.
Harley.
Hank.
I'm going to introduce myself. Oh, and then
Okay.
up.
You go, Ellie.
Say it or you
want to begin?
Hi, my name is Harley.
Ellie.
Harley.
They can't hear you. Come
I said
closer.
hi.
Come closer, honey.
Harley, how are you?
Good.
Okay, now
Good.
you
Hi.
can say hi.
Sarah and I'm.
Say hi,
Hi,
I'm
my
Ellie.
name is, and I am 9 years old, and I live in Pell City, Alabama.
Awesome.
They do mute.
Welcome from Alabama. All right.
Ellie,
Mute, can
I
mute.
said hi.
they can't say hi again. Nobody can hear you.
Hi.
Hello.
Mute
Welcome.
my audio. Stop.
Okay.
Audio.
Is there anybody else that
Say, I'm Ellie.
Yes, stop
gets to
reading.
introduce
My name is
themselves?
Katie. I'm calling in from Victoria,
See
Texas.
profile picture.
Hey, Katie. Welcome.
I'm Julie Horst from
Mute,
Louisiana.
can mute.
Welcome.
Can you say hi? It's Fran.
Welcome.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
My name is Norges.
Hi, it's Nadia.
Hi, Nadia.
Goodbye, everyone. I'll be signing
Hi.
off. Enjoy.
Oh, okay. Do we miss anybody else?
Get out of this meeting.
Hi. My name is Norges.
Hi. Welcome.
I live in New York.
Hi, I'm April from Rochester, New York.
Okay, welcome. Okay, guys. So I know we have a busy agenda and I know you have a great keynote speaker ahead. So I don't want to take too much of your time, but to all of our blind youth who are out there, thank you. Thank you for getting on this in this meeting and being part of the first virtual convention of the National Federation of the Blind. It's really exciting that you'll be able to say you were part of the largest gathering of blind people ever in the history of the world, which is really cool. So thank you for being here. We're going to have a number of days of activities, and I want to thank the parents who got their kids here, because it's really important that you're engaged and connecting your children to this network that we have. So thank you for being here. The Federation, we've been focused over the last 4 months, especially on doing two things: connecting blind people together and protecting blind people by protecting their rights and responsibilities in society. And that really means creating a solid foundation for our kids. As Carlton said, your kids are our kids, and we feel really good about the work that we've been doing to help with that. I want to see from the kiddos out there if there are any questions for me. So if you have a question, if you could say your name, that would be great.
Not yet.
And if you're not speaking, if you wouldn't mind muting your phone. Is there anybody that has a question, though?
You have a question?
Yes. Harley.
Okay. I'm sorry. Who is this?
Harley,
Harley. What's happening?
can people make a playground that makes sound for blind children?
Now, that's a great idea. Certainly, it could be done. What kind of sound would you want in a playground?
Maybe kids laughing?
Okay. Yeah. What else would you want?
Birds chirping, maybe?
Okay.
Don't you want the sounds to know where you are?
Would you want the sounds to help you get around in the playground, or to give you information? What do you want the sound to do?
To help me go like to the slides and stuff and where things are.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What sound do you think a slide should make?
Oh.
A kid sliding down it.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, how could we put audio into a playground? Now, that's an interesting question. I don't know of anybody that has done that, but I think it could be really cool to do. Now, when I go to a playground, I take my cane with me, and you can get some sound from your cane, at least to detect where things are, as well as feeling them. But wouldn't it be cool if we could figure out a way to put sound into a playground? I think that would be pretty cool for all kids, not just blind kids, don't you think?
Yep. They could close their eyes or put sleep shades on.
Like, think of the monkey bars. Like when you grab a monkey bar, you get a little monkey sound. That'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
That's a great idea. I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm going to mute you now.
Brayden.
Yeah, who is that?
Brayden.
Yeah, how are you? What's your question?
Why do we have to use a cane if we could actually use a stick?
Ah, that's a great question. Well, you could use a stick, but you know what? In the National Federation of the Blind, we've developed these really cool canes that are made out of carbon fiber. And so carbon fiber is a really lightweight material. So it gives you good vibrational feedback. Plus it's not heavy. It's much lighter than a stick. And it can hold up better than a thin stick. So you could use a stick, for example. Do you ever go hiking?
No.
No? So I know blind people who, when they go hiking, they take their cane with them, but they also use a stick. A lot of people, when they go hiking, use hiking poles, especially if they're climbing up pretty steep terrain. So you could use a stick, but you know what? Blind people have been using all sorts of canes to get around for decades now. And what we found out is that lightweight, long canes actually work the best for being able to move quickly and effectively. So
the IDP. So can you get my charger from
all
over
right.
there?
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Any other questions?
Hank.
Hey, Hank. And I'm going to take this last question from Hank, and then I think Carlton's going to want to move me on. So, Hank?
Do you have a guide dog or a cane?
Oh, that's a great question. Now, go ahead.
And if so, which one do you use the most?
Okay, great. Great question, Hank. So I have a cane, and so I use the cane the most because I do not have a guide dog. My wife, Melissa, who is a board member for NOPBC here, has used a guide dog. Her guide dog's retired right now. But I use a cane. And, you know, even if you use a guide dog, you really need the fundamental skills for how to use a cane. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There are places you will not want to take your dog that you'll want to go. And, you know, your dog can get sick and you still want to be able to go where you need to go. There are some people that in certain situations, they use their cane and their dog, depending on what they're trying to do. But I use a cane. I think part of it for me is I have enough trouble just taking care of myself. So I don't necessarily want the responsibility of taking the dog out and doing all the things that you have to do to properly use a dog guide. But there are a lot of people that do, and that's their personal preference. At the end of the day, you have to get good using that white cane because you're not going to want to take your dog into certain situations, or you may decide that you want, you need the freedom not to have to worry about taking your dog out or feeding it in a certain situation. So you should do both. So if you want to use a guide dog in the future, you should really get good using your cane and using those basic techniques, because the fundamental skills you're going to use are the same regardless of the tool you decide to use. Great question, Hank. So Carlton, I know we have a busy agenda and I don't want to take all the time. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Always love being with our kiddos. I encourage you to drop by the presidential suite later. You can find the link on the agenda at nfb.org/convention. Would love to meet with you there. And I hope you all have a great convention, and my best to our Parents Division on your tremendous work. Thank you for your leadership, Carlton, and the rest of our Parents Board.
Thank you so much, President Riccobono. Could you stay for just one moment longer?
Yeah, I'll be here. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Riccobono.
My friends, isn't President Riccobono wonderful?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and I'll do the, I'm waving my hands in the air. That's death clapping, so that works too.
Yes. Good seeing you.
President Riccobono is one of the first blind people I ever met. Back in 2005, before he and his wife Melissa had any children of their own, his warmth, Generosity and wisdom comforted and strengthened my family's resolve to make sure that our daughter's opportunities would never be limited by what she could or could not see. Alexander Pope wrote, "As the twig is bent, so is the tree inclined." These words of Alexander Pope are the inspiration behind the title of the Twig Award. The National Organization of Parents of Blind Children initiated Twig Awards on our 25th anniversary in 2008. This is not an annual award. We bestow it to honor those whose work has influenced the direction in which our children grow. The award itself is a medallion engraved with a tree and the words, "As the tree is bent award." As the twig is bent award, I apologize, and NOPBC since 1983, with the word NOPBC in Braille and print. On the back of the medallion is the recipient's name and the year in which the award was given. This year, we will be
I don't know how to do it loud because is my battery going low?
Okay.
So how do I make it loud so I can hear them?
Please mute. This year, we will be presenting 2 Twig Awards. One to NFB President Mark Riccobono, and one to his wife, NOPBC Board Member and Conference Director, Melissa Riccobono. Mm-hmm. Time to clap. Each of these individuals has worked tirelessly and supported blind children and their families and educators steadfastly for more than 2 decades. Each has shared insight, knowledge, and compassion with families struggling to ensure their children receive a meaningful education that will prepare their children for the future. In other words, both Mark and Melissa have bent countless twigs to incline many, many trees toward the upward trajectory of achieving their dreams. Typically, I would have the honor of presenting each medal personally, and I hope to get down to Baltimore to do so sometime this fall. In the meantime, Mark, Melissa, please know how much your work has enriched everyone in this virtual conference and so many, many more. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Carlton. This is a surprise. I really appreciate it. You know, especially when we have to be distanced from each other. The work that is happening with our Parents Division and the work that we've been undertaking collectively really for our blind youth, both with our NFB Bell in-home edition and our distance learning activities really shows the best of what we can do when we come together, including, you know, continuing to help get out thousands of free Braille books to kids on a monthly basis, so many things. So I appreciate the acknowledgement, but more importantly, it's really the privilege and honor to have the opportunity to work with so many great people who put their own ideas and expertise into what we're doing. So I'm deeply humbled, and I appreciate the recognition, but more importantly, I recognize that we have a lot more to do together to raise expectations for blind children. And so I guess in accepting this recognition, I only do so by way of saying we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And this is only the beginning of what we're going to do together. And I certainly remain fully committed to making sure that the next generation, the next generations of blind children will have it much better than I did. And I think because of what we're doing together, we're getting there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Melissa, do you want to say a few words? If not, that's fine. It's your call.
Well, thank you all so much. I am I'm extremely humbled, almost speechless, which does not happen very often, and definitely very touched. Little teary-eyed over here. You know, it is just an honor that families are willing to let me and President Riccobono and all the members of the National Federation of the Blind and the NOPBC into their lives. You know, there's a song I really like that talks all about how you have a whole heart, and sometimes you have to show people the hard parts and let them care about you anyway. And I know that's not easy. And I just really appreciate it when people are willing to reach out for help and to say, you know, things should be different for my child. This shouldn't be the way that it is. And I am very humbled to be a small part of hopefully helping to make things a little bit better. But we do have a long way to go, and I recognize that. And I am certainly not going away. This energizes me every year, and I am so incredibly excited to get to meet all these new families who are joining us virtually, maybe first time. And I am definitely here to do all that I can to help our children have a better experience, particularly educationally, particularly these times with COVID. It has really struck me how difficult things can be. And so that people know, especially those that are joining for the first time, President Riccobono and I have 2 blind children of our own. And so not only do we know as blind adults how things are, but we know firsthand because of our blind children. And we are parents. More than anything else, we are parents just like all of you. We're in the same boat. We have the same struggles. We have the same questions. Believe it or not, we do. And so what we give to all of you is nothing more than what all of you teach us. And the more we give, the more we learn. And so thank you very much for this award. And I'm really, I guess I found something to say, but I am really humbled and very surprised.
Thank you both so much. And the medals are not in the mail, but they will be in your possession as soon as we can make it happen.
Thank you, Carlton.
Thank you. Next, we have the honor of hearing from one of the trees Mark and Melissa nurtured. Please welcome Gabe Cazares, Director of the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities for the City of Houston, Texas. Welcome, Gabe.
Hi, Carlton.
Hi.
I'm very excited to be here this morning with all of you, although I wish I was not greeting all of you from the headquarters of the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities, the West Gray Metropolitan Multi-Service Center. I wish I was a mile and a half down the road at the Hilton Americas with 3,000 of my best friends from around the country. But I'm very excited. I'm delighted to join my Federation family. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gabe Cazares. I have been a member of the Federation for 10 years now. And I have had the good fortune of working closely with, being mentored by, and being personal friends with Mark and Melissa Riccobono. And they are exceptional people that are committed to our organization and to our movement, and who give of themselves endlessly to advance our priorities. So I am glad you had an opportunity to hear from both of them. Talking to the parents is one of my favorite activities. Y'all are pretty cool. Don't tell the students I said that though. I wish that my parents, 2 Mexican immigrants who came to the United States in the early 90s, had the opportunity to sit in a room like this one, where they got to hear from blind people who found a way, and who not just found a way for themselves, but who also have committed themselves to making the experience of living as a blind person better for those who come after us. And that really is at the heart of what the National Federation of the Blind is. You know, you'll hear this a lot this week. We say the National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. And we'll remind you that every day we work to raise the expectations of blind people, because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. But it hasn't been for me until I engaged with the Federation in a real way that I realized what we say is true. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back. So I'm going to share with you for the next few minutes a little bit of my personal story. And I want to start with the caveat that no one's story is similar, but the bond that brings us together is our participation in the movement, our participation in the National Federation of the Blind, and our active membership. As Carlton said, I'm currently the director of the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities in the city of Houston. My boss is Mayor Sylvester Turner, mayor of the 4th largest city in the country. And my responsibility currently is to oversee the timely and accessible delivery of services and programs to over 215,000 Houstonians with disabilities. When you take into account the number of people with disabilities who are also undocumented in our region here in the city of Houston, the number rises close to 600,000 people with disabilities in our area. I would not have the confidence to do the job that I do on a daily basis if it weren't for the mentors and friends that I found in the National Federation of the Blind. You see, blindness was not new to me. I grew up with hereditary glaucoma. My father was blind. My grandfather was blind. My older siblings are blind or have some certain degree of vision loss. So the experience of not being able to see in the ordinary way, whatever that is, was not new when I met the National Federation of the Blind in 2010. What was new was a network of friends and mentors that were interested in pushing me further and to achieve greater than even I thought was possible. Before I met the National Federation of the Blind, for example, college was a word that was thrown around sometimes in my inner city high school. But no one really sat down with me to explain to me what that really means, what obtaining a post-secondary education can do for you and your job opportunities, particularly as a person with a disability. No one explained to me how to apply for school, how to fill out financial aid. And it was my blind friends, my family in the National Federation of the Blind of Texas, who worked with me every step of the way to make sure that I got into college, and were some of the first to invest in my future by awarding me a National Federation of the Blind of Texas Merit Scholarship to help fund my education. But it was also my friends in the National Federation of the Blind who told me some of the hard truths about my own experience with blindness. My Federation family challenged me to strengthen my travel skills, my Braille reading skills, my technology skills. But as a high school hotshot who knew it all, because what 18-year-old doesn't think they know it all, I thought I had what I needed to be successful in college. And despite not having any issues with the academics, my first year of college, I almost failed. And I almost failed, not because I couldn't do the work, but because I did not have the blindness skills to help me successfully navigate and traverse my college campus. I didn't have the confidence to advocate for myself and my accessibility needs. So when I hit rock bottom and I was convinced I was going to flunk out of my freshman year of college, my mentors in the National Federation of the Blind were there to help me pick myself up and make sure that I used that as a learning opportunity. I enrolled as a student at the Louisiana Center for the Blind in June of 2011. And that was the best decision I have ever made in my life, because I learned so much more than cane travel, Braille instruction, home management. I learned so much more. I learned confidence. And confidence is a trait that no circumstance will ever be able to take away from you or your blind children. After I successfully navigated through the curriculum at the Louisiana Center for the Blind and was exposed to fabulous role models like Pam and Roland Allen and the rest of the staff at LCB, I went back to school and graduated in 2015 with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and Spanish, and a minor in Spanish. And because of my involvement in our movement, because of the relationships that I built by contributing actively to the efforts of the National Federation of the Blind, I had the opportunity, President Riccobono granted me the privilege of going to Baltimore and joining the government affairs staff at the National Center. I had done some political work through college. I worked on campaigns at different levels, but I had no policy experience, nothing. And President Riccobono saw in me that even with all the confidence I gained at the Louisiana Center for the Blind, I didn't see in myself. I did not think I had the capacity to dive deep into policy, to understand the nitty-gritty of how laws get made, how regulations get written, so that blind people can truly live the lives they want. But because of the mentorship that I received through my Federation family, I participated in negotiations with the higher education lobby to push for accessibility in instructional materials. I worked on voting access. I worked on making sure that blind people and the needs of blind people are represented when we talk about things like immigration or LGBTQ issues. I worked extensively on the legislative efforts to pass the ratification of the Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to published works for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled. And ultimately, because of the faith that my Federation family put in me and in my personal development, I was invited to interview for and ultimately accepted the position I now hold. And I've said a lot, and it sounds like a really good story, and it sounds like it has a happy ending, but let me tell you, I'm still writing my story, and I expect that because this is life, there will continue to be challenges. But one of the things that I take comfort in knowing is that my participation in the movement, my friends and my family that I have in this organization will always be in my corner to lift me up, to give me advice, to give me support, and to give me encouragement. So that's what we're here to offer you this week. Whether this is your first time joining us or whether this is your 50th time joining us. Every year, the National Convention serves as an opportunity for me to reflect on what the Federation has given me and recommit myself to do everything I can to make my contributions matter for the next generations to come. So I'm very pleased that you're here with us this week. We would have received you with a Texas-sized welcome and breakfast tacos, but because you weren't here, I had to eat the breakfast tacos. They were good. I'm very glad you're here, and I hope that my story will help you understand the value that this organization has. And if you're not a member yet, let me invite you to join us. And together, let's transform our dreams into reality. Thank you, Carlton.
Thank you so much, Gabe. You're wonderful. Clap. And then I'm also going to do the waving hands, the deaf clapping, because most everybody's muted. So, you know, there we are. Thank you so much, Gabe. Wonderful. Okay, my friends, we are coming to the end of our first session. You know, I'm sure you've noted that we have 45-minute sessions. That's to give us breathing room and standing up room and getting a drink room, anything we need. And so that because it's hard kind of to meet virtually, it's wonderful. And I'm so grateful we have this opportunity, but it's different from being able to give a friend a hug. So these rates are built in. Our next session, which begins at 2 p.m. Eastern in about 18 minutes, is a breakout session. So we're going to break out of the general session, and we have 5 concurrent sessions, my friends. I know that you'll find something that will work for you. Since we do have a little more time, I'm going to just talk through them and share the Zoom meeting ID number. If you want to take a break, take a walk, stretch, go for it. We will not have any more content until 2 p.m. and it will be in one of 5 different Zoom meeting rooms. Now, here's a great thing about these meeting rooms. These are not Zoom breakout rooms. These are actual Zoom meeting rooms. So if you go into a session and figure, I really want to hear something else, you don't have to wait for anybody to move you. You have complete autonomy to move yourself in and out. And we're really grateful to the NFB for providing our Zoom host, our great Zoom host today, Bridget Burke, thank you, and providing Zoom hosts for each of our rooms. That kind of support makes us able to support you. And it's a team effort, and we really appreciate them. So now I'll run through the 5 breakout sessions that begin in 16 minutes. And again, please feel free to jump out if you don't want to, if you don't want to stay right now. Now, the first session is called All About That Braille, Cracking the Code. It will actually be right here. It'll be in this same Zoom room. And that Zoom meeting ID is 471-527-4444. The presenter is Jackie Anderson. She is a TBS, Teacher of Blind Students, as well as an NOPBC board member. She is an amazingly talented educator and a terrific mother and an irreplaceable friend. I highly recommend any session Jackie does. Session number 2 is I Like to Move It, encouraging all types of movement for young blind children. This will be hosted by Mary Jo Hartle, another great educator. She is both a teacher of blind students and an orientation and mobility instructor. She holds NOMC, National Orientation and Mobility Certification. The Zoom ID for I Like to Move It is 987-27-20-9823. On to session number 3. Okay, I tell you that these are great educators. It's just because they are. This amazing educator, my own blind child was blessed to have Treva as her accessible technology teacher in high school. The title of the 3rd session is Tech Talk, Typing, an Essential Skill. I should probably go to it because I still don't know how to touch type. It's on my list, on my to-do list. It will be taught by Treva Olivero, another fabulous teacher of blind students, TBS, and she also serves as president of the North Central chapter of the National Federation of the Blind of Louisiana. The Zoom meeting ID for Treva's Tech Talk is 924-7381-9421. Fourth, appropriately, the fourth one is 14. It's a magical age. This is being presented by Maurice Perret, a longtime and exceptionally talented NOMC orientation and mobility, certified orientation and mobility instructor, who also serves as coordinator for career mentoring programs at the NFB. Maurice has worked with adults and children for years, and he has such great insight on the transition that our students will have, like it or not, from elementary and secondary education to employment or education after high school. And the Zoom ID meeting for ID for 14, it's a magical age, is 957-1595-09. Lastly, we have Let's Socialize. How to find audio described content for your blind child. I won't go into how much I adore audio described content, but speaking as a person who I do have ADD, I really love it because I don't have to be looking at the darn TV to be following this television show or the movie. I love it. And we'll be hearing from Raul Gallegos. He is the bilingual access technology trainer. He is a bilingual access technology trainer, and he serves as vice president of the Houston chapter of the NFB of Texas. The Zoom meeting ID for Raul's audio described content session is 968-2291-6307. I'll go through these much more quickly one more time. And I look forward to seeing some of y'all at one of these sessions. It's all about that Braille, cracking the code with Jackie Anderson, Zoom meeting ID 471-527-4444. That's the room we're in right now. I like to move it, encouraging all types of movement for young blind children. Mary Jo Hartle, Zoom ID 987-2720-9823. Tech Talk, typing, an essential skill with Treva Oliveira. Zoom meeting ID 924-7381-9421. 14, it's a magical age with Maurice Perret. Zoom meeting ID starting all over. 14, it's a magical age with Maurice Perret. Zoom meeting ID 957-1595-0849. And Let's Socialize, how to find audio described content for your blind child with Raul Gallegos. Zoom meeting ID 968-2291-6307. Thank you all, and we'll see you soon. Take care. And see you back here at 3 o'clock. An hour and 10 minutes.
Carlton.
Yes.
It's Bridget. We've had one question. Are any of the breakout sessions being recorded?
They should all be being recorded. Thank you for asking that. They should all be recorded.